Hi all, welcome to the benchmarking of this ultra cheap build. You can see the previous video for the specs. So straight into it, I'm running a graphical benchmark called 3D Mark 2000, and what I'll do is I'll let this run and then report back with the scores. I did try to run later ones, but only this and 2001 would work. So I'll pause the video and report back. Onto 3D Mark 2001, as a side note, between each benchmark, including the games, I always give the system a restart just to free up any resources that are still locked by the running of each one. So I'll let 2001 run and then report back. So the results are 3D Mark 2000 4323 and 3D Mark 2001 28189. Nothing to write home about, but at least they ran. There was a warning message starting up 2000 regarding the system, but I just let it run. It seemed to finish okay. So what I'll do is I'll load up some games. First up is Team Fortress 2. Now I've taken all the defaults and some of the details are set to high, like shader detail is set to very high. So I'll leave those as they are, see what performance we get. Resolution is 1280 by 720, which will help things along. So what I'll do is I'll start a game and report on the performance. So I'll try and get a few characters moving on the screen. At the moment it's holding, nudging nearly 60 frames per second. So I'd say there's a bit of headroom here. If you want to get any of those quality settings or even the resolution upshifted, me personally on this sort of monitor, which you're not going to get more than 60 anyway, I'd leave things as they are. They're not looking too bad. Sometimes the that frame rate counter does dip a touch, which tells me we are going to get a bit of stuttering. So yeah, I'd leave everything is. With a lot of characters moving at the moment, it's dropping down to 50s. Yeah, so just leave things as they are. Okay, so that's Team Fortress 2. Onto Zula. So in the settings, the system has selected medium graphics level, resolution 1366 by 768, texture quality low. So I'd stick with that. If you get any screen tearings, turn on VSync. So what I'll do is I'll get into a game and report back. So into Zula, I'll try and get some players moving, just test that screen tearing. At the moment it's a rock solid 60 frames per second. We're not too much happening. And once again, I need a bit more practice on this. So there's a bit of headroom, but on this sort of monitor, yeah, I can see some screen tearing. So switch VSync on. As I keep saying, you're not going to see more than 60 anyway on a monitor like this. So you want as many frames per second as possible, but if it's not above 60, there's no point in worrying about it. But at the moment it's doing okay, even if I'm not during the gameplay. So I'll just get outside again. It's not very taxing on the system anyway, to be honest, this game, but it still plays quite well. But I need a bit of practice. Okay, so that's Zula. Onto Paladins, and I'm in the game setting menu, and the defaults majority is set to high. VSync's off, so again, if there's any screen tearing, just set that on. Resolution 1280 by 720. So I'll leave everything as it is and start a game and report back. So into the game, At the moment, we've not too much going on. It's above 60 frames per second. That's what Bandicam's telling me, but again, you won't see more than 60 on this monitor. So it's quite a nice looking game actually. It's based on the Unreal Engine, and there's a similar game called Realm Royale. So if games like this, fantasy, Fortnite type thingies are your thing, then this is going to deliver. I haven't got a clue what's going on. I just use this as a play test on my systems, but there's quite a bit of headroom actually for getting things up a touch. But I'd leave things as they are. You know, with a lot of action, it's above 60, and that's all you need really. Right, so that's a very brief look at Paladins. So, just to recap, I ran a couple of 3D Mark benchmarks, graphical benchmarks, and reported back with the findings. Now, Fortnite, Valorant and Rocket League wouldn't start. Rocket League just started to launch and then cancelled out of it. Valorant and Fortnite reported that the graphics card is not up to the DirectX standard, so you'll need a better graphics card should you wish to play those two games. Team Fortress, Zula and Paladins were fine, and also a lot of older games will certainly be okay prior to that. Fingers crossed with a bit of testing. So if you've just got 50 quid to spend on a machine and you've got these parts, some of them lying about or not, 50 quid maximum will get you this build, although the case was actually free. Me personally, if you can get that graphics card for a fiver, which is what I did, and you're not interested in playing Valorant or Fortnite and maybe a few other games that I've not tested, then go for it. But I go for something a bit better than that. Aim for 8 gig of RAM minimum and an SSD. So if you've got any queries, or if there's any software you'd like me to try out, or any games, just let me know and drop a comment. Thanks for watching.